about to take the stage is led by a man who grew up in South Africa and knows about the beauty and the complexities of that country and its people. Along with his remarkable group, he has brought our music world a true voice of conscience. Please welcome the Dave Matthews Band.
If these walls came crumbling down, it fell so hard to make us lose our faith. From what's left, you figure it out. And still make lemonade taste like a sunny day. Stay, beautiful baby. I hope you stay, American baby. Nobody's laughing now. God's grace lost and the devil is proud. But I've been walking for 1,000 miles. Just one last time I could see you smile. I hold on to you. You give me hope. I see you soon. And if I don't see you, oh, I'm afraid we've lost the way.
American baby, all around the world, sing out, it's American baby. It's your boy Conserviz 34. We got a good show for you tonight. Shout out Stefan Lessard. Shout out DNB seat assignments for 2022. Shout out Instant Ticketing Series 1. All right. Welcome back. It's the Wednesday night stream. Had an extra stream this week. This week in John Mayer was this Monday. So I was on Monday and did a quick stream on Saturday before going to see the Yukon Huskies. They did lose, unfortunately. But it is what it is, right? Life goes on. Yukon men's hockey team. I am a season ticket holder, and they lost in the Hockey East Finals. So today we are going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about American Baby and Stefan tweeting about it. We're going to talk about Ticketmaster, just kind of a rehash of what just some of the challenges of fighting Ticketmaster, but there are still ways to make your voice heard. And what songs would you want to be played? If you could tweet a song to Stefan, what song would you want for that to be played? And Granny is asking, says shout out to finding the perfect Airbnb. Yeah, keep me updated on that. So we're gonna Granny and I are gonna be going to some Deer Creek shows and hanging out before the show, and working out. She's helping me. She helping me out to get tickets as well. Really appreciate that for face value. I really appreciate that hospitality that you're doing as far as we're working everything out on that end. For night 1, I have my night 2 tickets. What show was that? So that was the Live 8 show from 2005. And this was a show. Let me just pull this up. I believe this was in Washington. Was it in New York or? Let's see if I can find it. 5, 8. This was in Philadelphia. Just to give you an idea of this, we'll zoom in here. So Dave Matthews appeared at a press conference, announced that DNB would be part of a series of free global concerts called Live 8, which was scheduled to take place on July 2nd. Live 8 concert will be held simultaneously in Philadelphia, PA, London, England, Rome, Italy, Paris, France, and Berlin, Germany. The Live 8 concerts are part of the one countdown to the G8 summit to urge President Bush and other leaders of the world's 8 wealthiest nations to save millions of lives when they meet together in Scotland, July 5th through 8th, 2005. They had all these acts here. As they say here, Kaiser Chiefs. I forgot about them. They were popping for a little bit, and then they kind of went away. 50 Cent, Bon Jovi, Will Smith was hosting. Keith Urban, Maroon 5. This love is Rob Thomas. I don't want to be lonely no more. I don't want to have to pay for this. P. Diddy, Bad Boy, take that. Sarah McLachlan and Stevie the Goat Wonder. There was an original Live Aid that took place as well back in 1985. So Don't Drink the Water, Dream Girl, American Baby, and Anyone Seen the Bridge into Too Much. This was a stand-up year, 2005. A lot of people dread this year in the tour. So we'll get to some of this. Thank you, Jacob, for posting some of the stuff. Let's first go to the tweet. So just to give you guys an idea of what was going on. So obviously, Stefan's been actually good at laying off Twitter recently. but he had to talk about this pro-Putin Russian accounts trying hard. So this is the original post. This is the quote. This was a Russian bot. So he's saying pro-Putin accounts are trying hard. Now, after this, somebody asked Beef Launch, 21 followers. For some reason, Stefan always replies to these accounts with like a couple followers. All the people that have like 100 or more followers, he doesn't care about. He loves arguing with these accounts that are mostly fake, that only have a couple of stuff. Someone said, "Fonz, use Twitter as a positive platform. Don't engage with negative people." People have been telling him that for years. He's actually done better. People have been telling him that for years. So this was the big quote here. Will you guys ever play American Baby again? Now, again, Stefan could have just ignored this. He could have said, look, not going to engage, right? People always comment. People tag him, I'm sure, hundreds of times a week. Hey, this, that. I want you to do this, that. But he controls who he responds to. And it's rare that he responds to something that's positive or not just attacking him. He likes to respond to people that hate on him or trying to troll him, or he thinks that's a bot account. But no, Stefan responds to this question: will they ever play American Baby again? He says, I'd love to resurrect that one for tour with the intro. I'll put in a good word for that one. So he's saying, he'd love to play that and then also do American Baby intro, right? Which to me is the better song. American Baby intro is the better song. Says I'll put in a good word. Now, Twitter went nuts. I did repost this, and I tagged DNB Gorge Crew. I put it in my Instagram. You guys, check out my Instagram page, ConcertViz34. Subscribe to that. This is my UConn hockey right there. And what I want in a DNB show. That was a little bit of a clip there. So I did on Instagram, I did post that, and obviously DNB family put it in. It was on, people were posting it on Facebook. Word got out. This was yesterday. This happened on the 22nd, and word did get out. And people were like, oh my God, he's responding to someone about music, and he rarely does that. Now, here's my thing. First, let's talk about the odds that Stefan is able to, how much say he has with this. And then we'll talk about American Baby and why I think it's not right. I don't want that to be something that if Stefan is focusing on bringing something back, I hope it's not that song. So first, Stefan has a history. People will ask him things on Twitter. People will ask him things when they see him outside of a show. He'll say something, and it doesn't necessarily come to fruition. Okay? So I want to caution people. Some people, you guys already know this, right? But some people don't know this. Even veterans, you just don't check out the social media stuff like this unless it gets this big, right? People complain about set lists all the time, and Stefan will be like, yeah, he'll try to play good cop and Dave's bad cop, right? And at the end of the day, 99% of the time, it does not come to fruition. That's not to say that Stefan hasn't said something to Dave and it doesn't go in, right? People, someone's gotten a request in through Stefan and it's gotten through. And some of this also, you got to, for context, if you have someone like Kit Kat Sam, if you have someone who has a story, who's going through a very difficult time, who's going through life with some sort of struggle, the band will play something that they want. And in previous eras of this band, when they were much more apt to have a wider, they never played out their whole catalog, but when there was more ability to do something like a Kit Kat jam for Kit Kat Sam, right? They would play that. But if it's not a case where it's a very special story, if you don't rescue Dave from the side of the road, his bike breaks down in Hershey, Pennsylvania, I believe it was, or was it Scranton, Pennsylvania? It was one of those, right? If you don't do that, or if you don't have a story, if you're not facing some sort of issue, if you're, he's not going to even consider it. But Stefan does not have the say to put something in the set list. And as I said on Instagram, the reason is because Stefan does not make the set list, and he does not have any part in the set list. And Dave Matthews writes the set list. If Dave is not feeling the song, it is not played, even if it's a request, because Dave has to sing and typically is playing difficult parts. Tim Reynolds can play anything, right? Tim Reynolds is an alien, right? Stefan is a bass player, and he's a talented bass player, which, by the way, should be turned up in the mix. It should be much more. He should be much more of a presence, in my opinion, so people can appreciate what he does. But it's about Dave Matthews and it's about Rashawn Ross. Why Rashawn Ross? Rashawn Ross makes the jams. Any sort of thing they're going to do as far as an improv, it runs through Rashawn, unless you are a guest. And even if you are a guest, Rashawn is going to sit with you like he did Ben the Sax Guy last minute to come up with, hey, this is how we play this stuff. He's able to. The thing about Rashawn that Stefan can't do, Carter can't do, right? Because Carter can't do this either. And even Jeff Coffin to an extent. Now, Jeff, in the case of MSG this last year, Jeff had COVID, so he couldn't help Ben the Sax Guy. But Rashawn has education and degrees on music theory and various types of horn play. So he's able to write on a 5-line staff what a sax player can play, right? He's able to write for horns, this is what you do. And you'll see him on stage, whether it's during the Gorge, when, you had people out, like Stefan was out and Carter was out, which I was there. I was also at Madison Square Garden, and the same thing would occur. Now, Jacob is saying, wouldn't Carter have more of a say than Rashawn, or is it maybe just 10 years ago? I do love Rashawn's arrangements. I would say Rashawn has more say because now Carter may be able to overrule something, but Rashawn is the quarterback of writing the actual jams and arranging the medleys. Carter Beauford keeps them on beat. So when Rashawn writes the medleys, Carter keeps him on beat. He keeps everything moving at the tempo that's going to be right for everyone. Everyone relies on him and Stefan for the tempo of stuff. So that's the thing, is in the actual show, your bass player Stefan and your drum extraordinaire Carter run the tempos. But the quarterback really is not even Dave, it's Rashawn. Love him or hate him. And there's stuff I don't like about Rashawn as far as some of his higher register stuff, some of the loud, brassy stuff that he does in parts that shouldn't have it. But Rashawn runs, he is the quarterback. So you could say that, and this isn't going to be a direct correlation, right? You could argue that, Stefan is Gronkowski, right? Or Tony Gonzalez, right? You could argue that Carter is one of the best offensive line guards ever. You could argue that, Carter or Buddy is Jerry Rice, right? But they are veterans, they are Hall of Famers, but they are not the quarterback. They're a wide receiver, they're a guard, right? They're a tight end, right? They're special teams. Meaning you could argue they have more importance to the band's sound, but the coordination of the music that's played every night is Dave and then Rashawn. Dave first and then Rashawn. So Stefan can say things and Stefan can play anything. Tim can play anything, right? Tim is an extraordinaire. But the guy who has to sing the vocals, right? Dave, right? American Baby is a song that can get him vocally, and it may be wear and tear. So if Dave goes to his vocal coach Rab, he may say, look, this isn't going to be something that's going to help you for the tour long term. Maybe do it one weekend, if that. Maybe just don't do it at all. So he may consult with his vocal coach, and then they may not do it because of that, because of the vocals. or Dave may just look, this guitar part, I don't, to remember the lyrics and the guitar part, even with the lyrics on the screen, it's too much. I'm not going to do it. It's up to Dave. Now that that's established, let's look at the American Baby suggestion. Greg, I know Groton 27. He needs this to finish stand up. He sent me a screenshot of his stats. So he wants this, and I'd be the same way if that was me. Although I don't have everything from stand up, thank God. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, but I get this. He needs American Baby to finish up and check off and get that. Okay, I've heard everything from stand up, right? So he's in. There's other people that are in. Now, one of the things I think, Luke, you said this in our Discord chat for DMB Society, right? You said, hey, who's going to play the violin parts? That's not a big deal. You could have that on keys, whether it's regular keys, or you could have it on like a synth violin that Buddy's playing, or some sort of Moog or effect piano or keys. And yes, it's not going to sound the same, but that's not listen, if they're going in on this song, the fact that there's no Boyd isn't going to be the issue. It's going to be the fact that people like this song is so. If we're bringing back a song from the dead, it should not be that song. But American Baby can be played by this current version of the band. It just may sound a little different and may have keys instead of violin, but it can be played. I don't think this is the song that they should be I don't think this is the song that they should be bringing back. But at the same time, we have to remember that this was the song that Stefan decided to respond to. Look at the responses to this. So this is shout out to Julie. So that's Kev. So these are people that I followed at the top of this. So, this person wanted to hear it. And Mike says, I don't think it'd be the same without Boyd, Tinsley, DMB. I still think they could get away with it. Buddy can play anything on piano that's string at the string effect. And so John's, what about the second half of The Last Stop? Again, 12 likes, no response. American Baby intro, right? And he's requesting something at Mansfield. See, Stefan does not respond to anything. And then he's like, hey, for the record, they play it summer. I want to thank you, Beef Launch. We're not going to thank you, Beef Launch. We're not going to thank you. We're not thanking you. Okay. Oh, Fish Wolfman. I'm a Wolfman's brother. I'm a Wolfman's brother. Be a special song for the summer, and it's your job to make the summer special for me. Thank them. Ask about it. Oh. Oops, I didn't mean to. So these are some of the people said shotgun. I know, yeah. Oh, a shotgun, please, right? All right. A bunch of people said shotgun. People are saying, right, tell them the original is straight, right? Luke says, stop it with the slander. Yeah, there's so many more songs that come in line before that. It's like the person who walks up to the front of the line, and you're like, hey, look, buddy, turn around. See the 50 people at the line? You're number 51, kiddo. Get to the line, right? What did? Okay, so Jacob said, American Baby holds a special nostalgic place in my heart. I was 8 when Stand Up came out, and it was frequently played at the time, but it's one of the weaker songs on the album for me. Yeah, I could see that because this was the song itself. Yeah, it can have that nostalgic feel. And even for Live 8, they played this song. It's American Baby, breathe American. Like the message of it, I can see why people would like it. But there's so much more. Now, here's the thing. Right? I would love to see American Baby intro or Dream Girl back in rotation instead of just partially being an outro to Lying in the Hands of God. This is what would be better from Stand Up. American Baby intro would be better than this. And here's what I think. This is what would be perfect. One of the most lacking parts of the show in 2022, 2021, 2019, 2020, whatever. The encore one spot. I remember in 2013, we got a Blue Water partial a couple times. I got one of those in Hartford. Right? Now, Some Devil is a great E1, but Sister to me has been overplayed. It needs to go away in the E1 spot. Play it in the middle of the regular set. I'm sick of it as the E1. But American Baby intro as the encore one spot song into whatever you want to put it into is an awesome, like when I talk about this band loves playing these build-ups and these epic loud parts. American Baby intro is the ultimate thing. You could say now Dave is doing the vocals on Lying in the Hands of God, so he could just do that same thing on that. And yes, he goes a little bit harder for the full American Baby intro versus the Lying in the Hands of God outro interpolation. But American Baby intro would be awesome. Dreaming Tree. Now, speaking of Dreaming Tree, this is what I said on Twitter today. See if we can find this. So there was there's my 5 years ago today. I was in Kansas City at the Sweet 16. So this was my little thing here. I said, so this is the Aaron Burr, sir, if you ever seen Hamilton. So I said, play Can't Stop Less and Dreaming Tree more. Turn up the rock bridge so we can hear Dave's chords. It didn't go perfect. It doesn't flow as well. But I said Dreaming Tree more. Now, obviously, it's a hard song, but I would love, that's what I would ask. I would ask if Stefan said, what do you want to hear? Conservative 34 or Granny. Sandra Jones, what do you want to hear? Dreaming Tree. The Last Stop. So Jacob says the Last Stop with everything going on in the world be a perfect choice. Yes. Well, the Last Stop. Yeah. With the reprise outro, right? Not the tourniqueted version. That would be awesome. I have not heard it. And some argue I've never heard the Last Stop because I haven't heard the full outro part, which I understand what people are saying there. American Baby. Finish. Yeah. So he says American Baby intro. Right. Yeah. Jacob says there are better songs from the album to bring back in rotation. Dream Girl, Stolen Away, or even a full band Old Dirt Hill. More than once a tour. I'll take any song on the album over I Did It. Well, here's the thing too, and this is what I think too. Let's not even request a song from Stand Up because listen, I love Stolen Away. I love Dream Girl. I love Old Dirt Hill. Right? We heard Old Dirt Hill at the Gorge. I know some people didn't hear it this year, but I heard it Dave and Tim. Right? I don't need it full band. Dave and Tim actually do a really good job with that song. Dream Girl, right? Stolen Away. These are songs that have been played. They've kind of been played in recent history. I want more of Some Devil. Trouble, full band. Dodo, full band. And Another Thing, full band. Or Dave solo in a D&B show. Dodo, full band. Forget Stand Up. I want those Some Devil deep cuts with the full band, right? I want Dreaming Tree. I want Last Stop with the full outro. Like Stand Up. I know people do want song. Like, listen, people always request stuff from Stand Up. Like mainstream fans do request this stuff. Dream Girl and all that. Like, yes, these are good songs, and Dave and Tim play them. But I want, and no Sledgehammer. Yeah, absolutely not. Listen, love Peter Gabriel. Peter Gabriel live in Athens is one of my favorite live shows of all time from any artist. Don't need Sledgehammer. We've gotten enough of it. It peaked in the 2010s. In the 2010 to 2014 was the peak of Sledgehammer. What You Are, A Drunken Soldier. I agree with those are ones that I would rather hear. No one wants I Did It. I don't think. Granny says I would love to hear new songs for encores instead of Answer Warehouse. They played the S side of those two songs so much. I'm bored with them both to the point of Let It Go. Oh, new songs for encores. Yeah, I mean, Warehouse doesn't always get in that encore. It has, like in recent years, they brought it back. Ants is played a lot actually in the main set. But I agree, there should be, I would love to see some new songs in the encore. Like Lie in Our Graves at Mohegan was awesome to have that. Yeah, these are theme. That's the thing is these songs are going to stay in rotation because they are both theme songs. They'll always be in regular rotation. Now, Ants, I want to say Ants got a little bit less play um, when they did bring it back, but let me take a look. Um, let's see, all time. I want to say it did go down a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong. 16 and 2016 was like a small playing year. 2021 actually, so they didn't really play it that much. If you look at 2018 and 19 and 2012, 2016, this was Dave and Tim 2017. 2016, 2012, and 2021. So they did actually scale back and significantly. When you look at 2019 and then 2021, they did about similar amount of shows. Obviously, Ants, the pandemic year you can't count that. It's been played twice this year. 2010, look at that. Look at the wide. And then obviously at the beginning of this band's rotation, it was there as well. 1,389 times. So yeah, it wasn't played that much last year. If you think about it, it has been cut back. Maybe you got it in Deer Creek because Granny goes to she goes to Indiana for Deer Creek. Ants didn't get it played last year. Right, he only got it once, but then Luke got it 3 times. Yeah, the riff and break for it. I like these here. Break for it, awesome. And then I would say the Away from the World songs, stuff like Blackjack. Yeah, I think Blackjack, break for it. I don't need much more personally. I don't need much more of Away from the World. Now, what I would like is listen, if they're gonna do it, bring back the riff and Broken Things. We got Broken Things and Mohegan Sun. Those are the only 2 songs we really need. Now, Snow Outside's amazing. But again, I'm focused on listen, there's only going to be so many songs brought back. Forget Stand Up, forget most of Away from the World. Now, again, I did say Drunken Soldier, the riff, and Broken Things, but I would much rather see them look at Some Devil, those rarer cuts. I'd much rather them see Beach Ball from that EP or that Little Red Bird EP, right? I'd rather see What You Are. I'd rather see If I Had It All. The everyday songs like Fool to Think, What You Are, even though those have been played, I would much rather see those songs come back. Luke says the fans are too loud for Snow Outside. Again, it depends on where you are. I know, Luke, you're in the lawn a lot, so the lawn will get pretty loud. The Snow Outside is okay. I think they can get away with it because it just depends on where you are in the venue. You said, I do believe Dave is a troll on Twitter and Instagram. Crackbook, seriously. Well, Dave doesn't. You think he's one of the troll accounts? Is that what you mean? Because he's not on there. Unless you mean he's one of, like, you think he has like a burner account where he has an account where you don't know it's Dave and he's just saying silly stuff. Who knows? That would be kind of funny. But that's where we're at. So there's plenty. Obviously, there's a lot of songs that we could suggest. Everyone brought out some great points. That's the problem. There's so many great songs, and there's only so many spots that can be used for these rarer cuts or songs that, yeah, you get the So Right, you get the If I Had It Alls, and you get the Fool to Thinks and like stuff like that. Some of those songs aren't played as much. Some of them have been played, but it's hard. Oh, you believe the fake Dave Matthews in Twitter is actually Dave Matthews? Hey, who knows? You never know, right? That'd be funny if it was. The next thing. So shout out to Groton. Let me actually see if I can find that. He brought up a good point to me about Ticketmaster. So we want to go to that. Let me see if I can find this here. I don't know if it'll let me play this. I don't know if it'll let me play this, but yeah, I don't think it'll. But he had a video on his timeline about fighting Ticketmaster. Now here is the problem. You guys, if you follow me for a while, you've probably heard this. Here is the problem with trying to fight Ticketmaster. Let's get this up here. Let me just say. How do we fight Ticketmaster? Really pay for holding. All right. For okay, so how do we fight Ticketmaster Live Nation? How we literally pay for beating them in court. Here is the biggest challenge as we had seat assignments, and seat assignments brought up the idea that because of where everyone was seated for seat assignments, people were upset that Ticketmaster Live Nation they really have a monopoly on the good seats. Here is the challenge of defeating Ticketmaster and Live Nation. Every time that the people have brought Ticketmaster in court and won, when there's been class action lawsuits, what happens? Sometimes we get credit, sometimes you get refunds. But guess what happens after Ticketmaster has to pay millions and millions of dollars to fans? Their prices go up. Every time that we hold Ticketmaster accountable, every time we make it harder for them to profit, they just simply do different things. I truly believe we would not have platinum tickets to the extremes that we have them. And let's go back and show you the extremes. We would not have these extremes if we did not take Ticketmaster to court. Ticketmaster has been found guilty in court, or they've settled in cases where they've been found to have deceptive advertising, and when they've had situations where they had hidden fees that were not properly in good faith put up on these ticket purchases. And what happens? Again, we have to pay. If we never took Ticketmaster to court, I don't think we would have the extremes that we have. For example, if I bring up this seat map, right? This seat right here is $177, right? This is at the back of Hartford. It's in a platinum seat and the furthest back you can possibly get. Same thing right here, right? Row CCC. That's because this idea of them going that extreme, right? Platinum tickets used to be at the front of the house, right? That's all they really were, right? So right here. Now this one is $718. A couple years, like 5-6 years ago, this may have only been $200, right? Or $300 at most. This is $708. Now this is a really good seat. You're right in front of the pit, right? $718 plus fees for two of these, right? That's why nobody bought them. But this is not like, this is because of what we did to Ticketmaster. And this is also because of the pandemic. The pandemic slowed down momentum. The demand for Dave Matthews Band shows was leveling off outside of the major venues, right? And even some of the major venues, like obviously SPAC will always have demand. They could sell 5 SPAC shows and they would all sell out right away. They could go there for 7 days, right? 7 shows in 10 days. Let's say they do a 10-day trip to SPAC and they do 7 shows. They have a couple of days off in between. all of those seats would sell out. But some of the other venues, there was less demand before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit. I actually didn't buy a lot of tickets for the 2020 tour because I had a feeling I could buy tickets last minute, seats would be closed. There was a lot of seats after the on sale still available in 2020. And then the pandemic hit. Now, the pandemic hit and it made things worse because people weren't going. And actually, like, I was able to get seats pretty cheap at certain venues. But now in 2021, some people sat out 2020 and 2021, and now they're coming back in 2022, and the demand is right there. Now, what does Greg say? The best way is not to sue them, is to bring the hammer down on the. Is that the FCC in the Senate or the FEC? Is it the FEC in the U.S. House? Now, this is my concern. I know we talked about this, Greg, behind the scenes. My concern is the only way to create true competition is to have venues in the same region have different ownership and fighting. Right? If they divided up these venues, if they said, hey, the Northeast is going to be Live, the Northeast is going to be Live Nation, and the Southeast is going to be Sun Ticket, right? And the Midwest is going to be Railroad Tickets, right? In the Deep South, like Texas, so not the Southeast, but the Deep South, Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi, is Bayou Tickets, right? And the West is Gold Coast Tickets. That's actually a ticket broker. Gold Coast Tickets, right? And the Northwest is, Gorge Tickets or Columbia Tickets because the Columbia River, or Pacific Tickets, right? If they split these Ticketmaster Live Nation into different regions, they would have to make deals with every region, but there would be no competition in between the regions. So your ticket prices would be expensive. These smaller companies would not be competing with each other. They would just be gerrymandering the districts so that they all get a cut, which is how Congress works, by the way, right? You have Democrats and Republicans who have their districts, don't do diddly squat for their districts, and they win their district every year. Not every district, but in the deep blue states and the deep red states, all you have are bureaucrats who literally thrive off the controversy, like Kentucky, right? You look at what happened in Kentucky, or you look what's happening in California. They thrive off the fact that they know they have no shot at losing. That exactly would happen if Ticketmaster got split up in the regions, like the phone. And Greg brought this up to me. I learned about this in school. They split up the phone companies because there was a monopoly over phones. And what happened was the cost of a phone bill dramatically went down. The other thing too with phones was the landline phone companies had to then fight with cell phone carriers. And cell phone carriers really put phone companies out of business. And yeah, Greg, yep, it can't be like the cable companies. That's exactly what they do, right? Here in Connecticut, we have Comcast Cable, or Xfinity, we have Cox Cable, COX. We have Charter. In Charter, I remember going to college. I went to college in Willimantic, and Charter was terrible. But that's all you could get out in Eastern Connecticut. You couldn't get Xfinity in Willimantic. It was terrible, but they had no competition. Now, here is what I think. This is the best way that they can really. The best thing to do is time, right? Time heals everything. Listen, the C-19 is going to be with us as just like any other thing, right? And hopefully there'll be ways to actually stop transmission fully, and really we'll learn more about how to to continue to help people out because people are still dying from this thing. But that said, the best thing that can happen is demand can go down. If you guys aren't paying attention, foreclosures are up like 70% across the country. You know why? Because people are buying houses and they buy the house on the idea they're living paycheck to paycheck. And because of that, houses are going to foreclosure at much higher rates in the last couple of months, in the last year or two, than they were before the pandemic. Right? The price of everything has gone up. Meaning that even though there's a limited inventory of houses, people are foreclosing on houses, and the demand for the housing market in certain areas is leveling off. There are some select parts of the country where rent is actually going down, right? Most people are seeing rent go up or stay the same, but there are parts of the country where rent is going down. The car market, same thing. At some point, the car market is going to go down. People are paying. You think Ticketmaster is crazy? People are selling 2 or 3 year old cars for the MSRP price, and they have 100,000 miles on them. It's wild. Someone bought a Honda Pilot for the MSRP. This is like a 2010 or like a mid 2000s or 2010s Honda Pilot, over 10 or 15 years old. Someone bought it at the MSRP price because they were freaking out. So what's going to happen is, if we don't buy these tickets, and listen, some people buy them, but if you guys look at this, if we look at this map, this is actually very significant. Forget these scalpers right here that are selling it for $441. But if you look at this, this is Hartford, Connecticut. The lawn has not sold out for years, or it hasn't been full for years. But if you think about it, okay, we have one, right? You have about 30 seats in this row, right? So you have 30, 69. Like, let's just say there's like 100 seats right in this section, this lower part of the section. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You have 13 tickets that are still available. That means 13 tickets were not purchased from platinum seat ticketing. I mean, platinum costs. So that means that nobody bought these tickets at these exorbitant prices. Same thing with this upper pavilion. Now, a lot of these seats were sold at face value. I don't believe people are paying $200 for this seat. $177 plus fees is over $200, right? Oh, so your brother totaled his 2016 Honda, almost got the same back. Okay, yeah. And actually, before last year, I don't work in auto insurance anymore, but I was doing total loss. I was a claims adjuster doing total loss offers, and people started giving me pushback last year about, hey, I don't agree. Like I negotiated part. It was one of the best parts of my job. I was actually good at this. I would negotiate settlements for people for total loss. So I would say, hey, here's what the market is showing us. This is what we're willing to offer you. And listen, I was somebody who tried to make it as fair as possible, right? I had a lot of liberties at my job, and I really give them credit because most companies didn't do that for insurance. And I would say, look, this is the data that I'm finding. If you can find anything else, I would tell people this. If you can find anything else in the market that is different than the data that I've pulled, tell me that I'm wrong, and I will raise the price of this offer, right? If you have anything that you've upgraded that's not like your standard wear and tear stuff, if you upgraded the speakers, if you had a something built in, a camera that you added to the car, we'll pay you out for that as well. And what was happening is people were finding new listings from a day ago, and the price was higher. So I'm like, all right, we got to give you this as the payment. So that's the thing, is like, yeah, the car market is crazy, and the ticket buying is crazy now because everyone wants to get back to these shows. But look, there's still tickets left, right? There's still people that did not buy these seats, and you know what's going to happen to these seats? These seats are going to go down to face value at some point. Now, you may not ever see this ticket because it's going to disappear. There are also tickets right here. There are tickets right here, like this seat. Some of these seats were not sold, and they're going to pop up closer to the event. What Ticketmaster does a lot is they disappear tickets. They take tickets that haven't been sold, or some of them are saved for the band, but there are tickets that just pop up closer to the event that were never even available to purchase during the on sale, right? So if we wait out in a couple of years as people get back to concerts, the demand for concerts is going to go down. Now, for BTS, right? That's a K-pop group. For Billie Eilish, for certain acts that are at like the DMB 2000 to 2004 popularity, you're still going to have a tough time getting them. But Dave Matthews Band, as popular as they are, Greg said it earlier, right? Deer Creek is one of the best selling shows of the tour. And actually, to be honest, it's one of the best lawns. Like their lawn, I was looking at some of the numbers. You guys saw earlier last year, I showed you the numbers. Their lawn sells very well. And yes, every lawn is pretty full in certain, but I'm talking about like they get the closest to darn near selling out. Even though the lawns are full nowadays, they could still fit people in there. If you go to some country concerts, you'll see how many people they can truly pack in there like sardines. So Deer Creek is it's a great selling venue. But outside of these bigger venues, demand is going to drop. And even for Deer Creek, demand may drop in 5 years because the band's getting older. The fan base is getting older. They have more responsibilities. There's shifts and people are leaving the Midwest. Oops, sorry, I just shut off for a second. And Greg's right. Day of drops are the best. They'll put a bunch of tickets out. So the band says, "Oh, I only need 5 tickets for my family." And there's 15 tickets that are left over. Those 15 tickets go out. Face value, right? Some artists are known to just do that anyway. They'll say, "Hey, I want you guys to drop all these tickets." So you'll find closer to the event, if you live in Indiana, Deer Creek will have drops. Chris Stapleton hasn't sold out Deer Creek, which is unheard of. Chris Stapleton is interesting because I saw him in Guilford, New Hampshire. And I mean, listen, by the way, I hope this is the case because he is he's my favorite country act right now. Favorite current country act is him. Sturgill Simpson could be up there if I hear him. I've heard Sturgill Simpson is better. I've heard both of them at Farm Aid, but Sturgill canceled on Farm Aid last year. But Chris Stapleton is my favorite country act. I don't even go to country shows like that, but I love Chris Stapleton. But Chris Stapleton, he has a following, but for Deer Creek, it just may be like he doesn't necessarily sell out. Yeah, I know it's his vocal group. He's up and coming. Chris Stapleton, I think Chris Stapleton has made it. Chris Stapleton, he had a 60 minutes thing. I think he's kind of made it, and I don't want to say he's peaked, but he's won Entertainer of the Year. He's won a bunch of awards even before last year. He is older too. It's tough to tell because Chris was a songwriter in Nashville for a while. It was sold out last time. So he sold it out last time, but this time he didn't. Okay. So I think he may have peaked. It's tough because, I don't want people selling out Chris Stapleton. I do want him to sell well, but listen, he's the best kept secret in country. For the mainstream country, like Chris Stapleton's amazing live. And he can actually play the guitar. There's a couple country acts that can play guitar pretty good. Brad Paisley is one of those guys. Keith Urban's pretty good, but he's amazing. People don't know him. I don't know. It's true. Some people may not know him, but I mean, in country, like people who are country music fans, they know who he is. And I know a lot of people that aren't country music fans that like him. It may be the circles you're in, Greg. Because again, he was on 60 Minutes like last year. I think it was last year or early this year. Like Chris Stapleton has, as far as the country music awards, he's been the last 5 years. He's done mashups. He's been on a bunch of different shows. He's been on the Grammys, right? he really, because he did the cover of Tennessee Whiskey, and this was years ago on the Traveler album, that's really what put him on the map. Justin Timberlake played with him, right? Justin Timberlake had him as an opener on his tour. That's the thing is, like, pop audiences were introduced to Chris Stapleton like 5 or 6 years ago when the 2020 tour was there. So, I mean, some people still may not know about him, but I think he's reached his peak popularity-wise, which is fine. I want him to be underground. Anyway, I digress. So, the cost of the demand on tickets is going to go down over time. We're in the first year which you can consider people starting to come back from the pandemic fully. Some people came back last year, but now everyone's going to be back this year. Oh, and you say Sound on Sound is going to sell out. I think, again, it's a first-year festival, and it's in Connecticut. Fairfield County has so many people, let alone the shoreline. You know, right, Greg, you're on the shoreline. People are going to be like, I think because it's his first year. The first year hype is real for Sound on Sound, right? They can get away with the pricing because it's new. Where other festivals, some of them who have a similar lineup to Sound on Sound aren't going to be, they're not going to be, what was I going to say? Some of the other festivals, they have buyer's fatigue, meaning people are looking at See Here Now for how many years? And this year, they're going to be like, well, I would love See Here Now over. I would love them to swap their pricing and lineup for Sound on Sound almost, even without Dave and Tim. I like See Here Now. It's pricing. But people in the Jersey Shore are kind of fatigued. It was cool a couple years ago, but the lineup this year isn't as good as it is in years past. So there's a lot of buyer's fatigue. Even something in the Water Festival, which is actually selling well too. It is selling well. It's a younger festival, so they get all the kids out there. There's a lot of colleges out there that will, in April, you know, there's still a lot of colleges out there, and it's the beach. But there's certain lineups that are not as good, and there's buyer fatigue. Sound on Sound is at year one, and they're jacking up the price and $100 parking. But it is a little bit shocking as how well they're selling. And I would love to see if they're doing bait and switch. For me, Sound on Sound, they could be honest and they could be selling out. But some of it seems like, even with the early bird pricing, they're like kind of baiting and switching. But oops, we sold out of this. Sorry, too bad. I wonder if they're going to release a bunch of single day tickets or they're going to release a bunch of 2-day passes closer to the event, because it's hard for me too to that all these people are paying this amount of money for VIP cabanas and all this other stuff. I digress, but I agree, Greg. Like it's something's fishy about that. But I mean, it could be just the market. It could be the demand. So, oh, you guys have a lot of automotive manufacturing. Yeah. When I was in auto claims last year, some of the suppliers were still recovering in 2021 before I, parted ways with auto insurance. So yeah, there's still a backup. I know you work at a car plant. Yeah, I'm gonna probably, if there's no single day, I'm skipping Sound on Sound. I'm skipping it. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I'll miss my first Dave Matthews related show in Connecticut since 2012, even though it's not the full band, right? It is what it is in a decade. It's not worth it to me. But waiting it out is going to be the best thing you can do. And I said this other day, not requesting for certain venues. Now, you guys may look at Guilford, New Hampshire right now, and it's pretty slim pickings. But Guilford, New Hampshire, closest to the event, has a lot of great stuff. If you're going to Clarkston, Michigan, right? It's a midweek show. And they actually they have all these crazy tickets, and like what's the pit is $888. Tickets will come available for this. One thing I want to point out too, and this is another thing. Granny talked about it. Now this is, you could argue this is good and bad. There's still warehouse members buying up a bunch of tickets for every show, then flipping them, right? I think this is good and bad. It's good in the sense that if I get a warehouse ticket, there's people in the lots every show. Oh, I got all these warehouse tickets, right? I've heard stories about SPAC too, having a bunch of people with like tickets last minute. Now, I've never seen this, but I've only been when I go to SPAC, I typically have tickets already. But a warehouse ticket, you can kind of look at its authenticity and know it's going to be legit. It's hard to fabricate a warehouse ticket. Oh, Greg's saying be quiet on Guilford. All right, I'll shut up on Guilford. But this is this is good and bad because in some ways it's good because again, you can trust a warehouse ticket for right now, especially because I hope they don't go mobile. I like the physical ticket because there's so many ways to verify it that it's legitimate. A mobile ticket is hard to it can be it's just even if they do warehouse mobile tickets, it's a hard thing for me to just feel comfortable with. I'm more comfortable with the hard stock ticket for warehouse. But there's a bunch of people that were complaining about the warehouse, and I get it. Some people were put in the back. But and Greg's right. There's some 98 2000. Yeah, people use these for trade and bait and scalping. And most people do sell them at face value, but it's still a hassle because people have all these tickets and they're not going to trade them. Like some of the trades people want, they want SPAC night 1 pits. And they're like, I got Hartford pit, right? And, I have Mansfield lowers. Like I'll trade all this for SPAC night. It's like they're trying to get the best trade and you can't get a hold on the tickets because people with cash or trade or any sort of the Facebook boards or the warehouse boards, you have certain people that say, no, I'm not going to let you buy this seat for face value. I want to use this seat to trade, which is their right. But then if you really want a seat in this section, in this show, you're never going to get it, even if you pay face value, because they want something unrealistic from another show for trade. And if you don't have that, it's not going to work. So there is like an issue in that sense that people don't want to let go of tickets until right before the event. And right before the event, you may have already bought your tickets or found a Ticketmaster drop, and then something like an hour before is available. And sometimes that's too close. So there is a concern with everyone complaining. And again, the warehouse, it's amazing. And I guess it's human nature. But if we go to the warehouse tells you guys where the zones are. And I get these zones are ridiculous, right? So the warehouse tells you, like, this is the zone. These are the zones. So if you have, now this is a bad example because this is an arena show. So the lowers are just the lower level of the arena, right? But if we go back to, like, if we go to Deer Creek, right? Deer Creek is telling you, hey, the highest price level goes all the way up to near the back of this area, right? You could be at the back corner right here in section E, and you could be paying the highest price point to be in the uppers pretty high up. So if you get seat assignments and you get the best level confirmed, it does not mean you're going to be in A, B, and C. And most people are not going to be in A, B, and C with the platinum tickets. You're going to be in G, F, or E, right? So people got this high price point, and then a couple of days ago, they got confirmed for the uppers towards the back, the last row of the orange. And they're like, oh, man, this isn't fair. I'm mad. Da, 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 da. And I get the frustration, but the seat assignments, like if you're confirmed for a zone, you may get this upper level, right? This was advertised to you before you even requested these tickets. We go to Alpine, right? Same thing. The 200 section, you could have the highest price point and be confirmed pretty high up in the 200 corners. Matter of fact, you could be right here at the highest price point in the back corner, and it's like that's not a good seat. That 203, the farthest to the left of my screen, and yours right there, right here before the purple. And Matthias says, been going to shows since '96. I've never had problems finding decent pavilions ticks on fan groups, boards, face value days before a show. Even during the sellout years, I'm never worried by warehouse declines. And thank you, Matthias, for saying that, because it's nice to hear a '96 fan, a fan that's been a fan since '96, not complain about being declined about the warehouse. I hear so many fans from '98, 98 warehouse accounts, 99, 2000, 01, 02, that complain about the warehouse when really there are ways to find tickets to shows. There's always stuff that pops up. And he's saying even during the sellout years, which is great to hear, that during even the years Giant Stadium had 3 shows, you were able to find tickets. And I think that's really what it's not impossible. So the I call it the gerrymandering, just like they do in politics, of the districts, right? What's 135 for reserve seating, right? The 135 reserve seating is now all the way to the back. Anything that's dead center, is going to be 135 until you get to the back of the back and these upper corners. So that's just how it is. And one thing I think I understand. So shout out to Trish DMB. And let's go to Matai. And let's give him a hand, because this is what I wish. And again, I understand. Listen, people have been dedicated to this band for a while. This is exactly what Matthias is saying right here. And I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. He is saying, listen, he got front row center at MSG in 2002. Can't really complain about the declines after that. Warehouse fans who were there in 98, 99, 2000, 01, 02, 03, all the way to 04, 05 and on, I get it, right? Stand-up sucked. That tour was brutal from what people were. I talked to veteran D&B fans. But 98 to 2004, if you had the best seats for the best era of the band during the warehouse, right? And even the best era of the band period is 98 to 04. If you had seats to the best part of this band, why are you complaining about not getting confirmed for Alpine in 2022? And these newer fans get pits. Yeah, you know what? A kid who's 23 right now wasn't even born during the 96 tour, right? So he or she never got to experience the best parts of this band live. So yes, they get a pit to Alpine this year, but they did not get close to what you got in 2002 or 2001 or 2000 when you were in the front field section at Giant Stadium or at Veterans Stadium or at Deer Creek when they had 3 nights in 2000, or Hartford when they had 3 nights in 2000, or the 2002 year of the Gourd, which is phenomenal. So what are you complaining? I get the prices have gone up, the declines. Everybody is facing this. But it's like someone won't sit. Now, here's what I will say. And I just want to say with Trish DMB, shout out to her. There are some parts of venues that just suck. Like Madison Square Garden, the last 5 to 10 rows suck. They absolutely are trash because there's a bridge there's a bridge there that has suites and it overhangs in the upper deck, right? There's certain venues where there's poles like an Alpine. There's certain venues where like certain sections just suck. The lawn in a lot of venues in the Northeast to me suck, right? You can't see anything at SPAC. Hartford's lawn, I get why people may not want to be on it even now because it's just people talking. The sight lines are okay, but they're not as good as other lawns. So I get why people complain about those. But to me, if you're in the middle pavilion or even the upper but dead center and there's no obstructions, I mean, it's yeah. I've heard Alpine's lawn is steep. My Alpine expert John Dix has given me some pointers, and I showed him all my tickets just to say, hey, is this a pole here? Is there a pole there? Shout out to John Dix. So I think that if you're not in the pit, if you're not at the orchestra 5 or 10 rows back, it's not the end of the world. Now, again, I know there are certain parts of venues like Mansfield, the open air seats are rough. Even the front row of some of those open airs are worse than being further back because it's like a pole blocking you. And they don't always advertise them as obstructed view. Or there's people walking by the front row of the open air seats. But there are a lot of seats that people are going to get, right, in the mid pavilion that are actually really good seats. That, yes, you're not as close for this one show, but if you're going to Alpine and Deer Creek, just be okay with those seats. Again, there are some seats that suck at Alpine, some seats that suck at Deer Creek in the back corners. But still, for 1 or 2 shows, can you see the stage? Are you under the pavilion, right? If the answer is yes, just let it be, like the Beatles. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. And understand some people are traveling, right? If you're traveling to a venue like I am, you don't want to be behind a pole. You don't want to be all the way cross country just to be at the back. And I agree with this. 600 first few rows behind the soundboard are the best ones in Hartford. I have sat in the row behind the soundboard for Earth, Wind, and Fire, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar, and those were some of my favorite shows of all time. Even being rail at DMB for Mohegan, which was awesome too. But being behind the soundboard is pretty awesome because you have elevation. The soundboard has to be able to see the stage. So if you're right behind it, like at Hartford, it's amazing. And some of my highest viewed videos, non-DMB, have been at that soundboard. Earth, Wind, and Fire videos, my J. Cole and my Kendrick Lamar videos are my highest view because it's just such a great view. If someone wants to see what the concert is going to be like, you go to those videos. It just be okay with the seats. Yeah, like I think there are legitimate gripes about some of the seats, but there are some people like, oh, I have to be like at this section, this row. Like, no, dude, chill for one show. And I say that now as somebody who's been to 33 Dave Matthews Band shows, right? So I'm starting to get that. Okay, I've been 10 years. I've been to 33 shows. At this point, the shows I go to, and I get everyone's different, but it's like at this point, even as much as on this thing I complain about certain songs, at this point, I go to shows to connect with a lot of you guys, right? I go to shows to check out Alpine for the first time. I'm going to Deer Creek and Alpine with the idea and the joy that, yes, my seats are not going to be, I don't have lowers for either of those. Do I remember the 21st September? Do you remember the 21st of September? Yeah. Let me stop. But like to me, I go to these shows and it's about the journey. Now, again, I want to be sensitive. I'm not saying you go to Alpine and you're behind a pole and oh it's all rainbows and butterfly. No, that's whack. All right. That's why I checked with my boy John Dix before I was settled with my seats. Once I got those seat assignments and everything, I checked with him. He said I was good. So you good, fam? Shout out to John Dix. You good, fam? Brooklyn on the check-in. So and this is what Matthias said. He said, so he's saying, did Meadows Lawn for 3 years, 96, 98, before I sat Pavilion. Was a video screen only show, but the music made it worth that. Yeah, there's parts of oh, you were at that live tracks. You were at the 98 show where they had to stir it up interpolation before Watchtower. That's awesome. That was one of the recent live tracks that I got from Harvard. Shout out to that live tracks. That's awesome. Yeah. So, and that's the thing is like, to me, it's about in the lawn. Now, so what does Greg say? He says, I say unpopular opinion. If the band got rid of the pit, us fans might be able to have our seats shifted a few. So you're saying we would have closer seats? I really think the pit helps our odds. Because the problem is if there was no pit, there's no general admission pit. Michael, thanks for coming on. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you're able to catch me as well. The pit actually helps because there's more tickets sold. Because I look at shows where there's no pit, like for instance, John Mayer. Yeah, Michael Ledbetter. By the way, I was listening to what was I listening to? Let me look this up. I was listening to a shout out to my guy Matt Souden. Matt gave me a Pearl Jam show, which has a lot of my yields. Had a lot of some of the stuff I like. I'm very picky with Pearl Jam. There's some songs I love, and there's some stuff that I just want to skip over. Even worse than DMB. What is this? This is the Pearl Jam. Oh, this is Deep. So the Deep 2003 live release, and it had a Yellow Ledbetter in it. That was an awesome live show, and I've listened to Pearl Jam radio and listened to some stuff. Oh yeah, they ended on Yellow Ledbetter. Yeah, and they had what was it? Present tense. They had Luckin. What does he say? My warehouse seats shifted about. My warehouse seats shifted 10 rows back and a few over to the side from '09 to 2010 at Hartford. The problem is that was still like that's 10 years ago. Oh no, 12 years ago. The problem is though is the greed of Ticketmaster. They would take those seats like I don't think they would make us more like closer. I think they would have much more platinum tickets up front and there would be less overall seats for fans to get tickets to. The pit allows for a lot more people to get to the show because there's no actual seats. So I think they would have Hartford, like Hartford would have oh no, '09, no. The pits were 2010. But I really think that just in general, they just have less and less options that are better in prime. And every year they have worse and worse warehouse seat assignments, which is fine, right? I'm still okay with that. I'm still going to shows, but I don't think if they were to actually have an actual not like an orchestra, like the pit is just orchestra seating, there would be less tickets. Much more of those would be platinum seats. You would see much more resale seats, and you would have less people going in. My favorite Pearl Jam song is probably now again. I still have to listen to more. I love Present Tense, Present Tense, and then Alive is a good song as well. Obviously, and you know people like even so. My problem with Pearl Jam is, again, it's such hit and miss. Actually, Temple of the Dog, which has a little bit of Eddie Vedder, I like Soundgarden over Pearl Jam. I like Temple of the Dog over Pearl Jam. There's the Pearl Jam catalog is hit or miss to me. And I want to see a Pearl Jam show. The problem is this year is going to be a no. They finally start touring, but there's just um I don't think I can fit in with everything I'm trying to do this year. I do want to see a Pearl Jam show just for the experience, right? Has anyone been to the side of the stage show in the rafters? I have been side stage in the rafters. Oh, Mike McCready sat in with Jason Isbell. Oh, that's awesome. A couple weeks ago, yeah, yeah. Didn't McCready have some like special shows? Oh, he sat in with Jason Isbell. That's pretty awesome. Mike McCready. Eddie Vedder. No, was it Eddie Vedder? No, Eddie Vedder was, because McCready's a guitar. Yeah. Um, but behind stage. So I've sat in Mohegan. I actually was like right behind the stage, but I was kind of side stage slash behind stage, and it was awesome. I've been behind the stage at MSG for Billy Joel, and I'm going to be going to Fish, and I'm going to be behind the stage for Fish in MSG in April. I'm in the last show of the Fish tour. Let's go. My first Fish show will be MSG. So I actually like being behind the stage. It's better. I think the nice thing about being behind the stage in the rafters is typically, even if you're high, you're right at the stage. The problem with MSG is when you're further away from the stage and you're higher up on the sides, that's where those bridges block your view. If you're behind the stage at MSG, you can see everything for the most part. Sometimes there's obstructions depending on who's playing there. But like Billy Joel, I was directly behind the stage in the 100s. It was amazing. It was awesome. Like I could see Billy. I was side stage lowers for Elton John at MSG. Oh, Eddie Vedder is featuring Stevie Wonder. Oh, interesting. Oh, Stevie's playing harmonica. Oh, that's really, really cool. I have to check that out. But yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot. I understand there's things that can be frustrating about this whole process. Ticketmaster can be frustrating, but all we can do is, and Greg brought up a good point, talking to your congressman or woman. Doesn't hurt to give them a call, right? You can look it up. It's public information. Send them an email. Say, hey, you got to do something about Ticketmaster. You got to do something about Live Nation. At least the bots, right? They're trying to get legislation through about bots. They've had certain things have been passed, but it's not working. So more legislation on that, bots in the ticket buying process. I would love that. The rest of the world has a much more fair ticket buying process, and the UK especially. Now, sometimes tickets can be more expensive. Just like some of our favorite American acts overseas can be more expensive for that local fans. Um, Exchange rates and everything, but there's like more fans get access to tickets in the UK and Australia and in Europe. And actually, StubHub had problems going to those markets with the way their business model was, because you have to like you can cancel a ticket. There's like weird rules where you can like actually back out of a sale of a ticket sale in a certain period of time after it's purchased, right? And you only can sell for X amount over face. Like there's not really a ticket broker market. There is, but like ticket brokers across the pond are they have less freedoms, which is in some ways a good thing. But yeah, there's some weird rules out there in the UK and Germany for ticket buying. So now there are some expensive tickets out there. So World Cup, football World Cup, rugby World Cup, the cricket World Cup. Some of those tickets can be expensive, but there are some there's better rules out there. that's gonna do it for tonight. It's 11:25. Oh, John. Shout out to John Dix. Hey, you good fam. You good fam. We were talking about you. You're the Alpine expert. You've been helping me with my tickets, my section and rows to make sure I'm not behind them poles. I'm not a stripper. Wake up. I'm not a stripper. I don't need to be behind a pole at Alpine. And John, you know, you're the expert at that. So shout out to you for making sure I'm not behind them poles. Peace, my brother. I'm not your brother. So yeah, that's all I got. Tune in Saturday. I'll have some more content. We'll see what happens before we get to subject matter for Saturday. Oh, you know John? Do you know John? Matthias? You know John? Oh, shout out to Samantha Pinkerton. She's always commenting on my videos. Samantha Pinkerton, shout out to you. You're always watching the replay. I know you can't make it live here. And shout out to everyone who's watching the replay. Because it's not about, if you don't see me live, it's not the end of the world. Just watch the replay. Oh, you know John. Oh, okay. So we got some OG DMB fans that know each other. We sitting together at Deer Creek. Y'all gonna have to figure that out, right? But yeah, thank you guys. Great conversation. Thank you for everyone who was on today. Really appreciate your input. I cannot do this show without you guys. I mean, I could, but it wouldn't be good. Wouldn't be good. Matthias, has he ever made you wait in line for a poster? Has he ever? That's how you know John. Hey, man. Hey, can you wait in line for this poster, man? Hey, you got me? Hey, can you wait? Shout out to John, though. John, he's good. John's your boy. I'm sure you waited in line for a poster. Yeah, he said LOL. Yeah, he knows. Hey, man, can you get that poster for me, bro? I got you. He got you with a drink. He always gets you with a drink or food, right? He'll get you, but he needs you to get in that line. And if you got to be in that line early, right? You got to be in that line early. You can't be messing around. All right. I won't say, you got to be in that line early. You can't be rolling up to the poster line, 15 minutes before opening. Yeah, he got the duffel bag. Yes, he has the duffel. Allegedly, he has the duffel bag. He's got that poster bag, right, for them flights, right? In the road trips, he's got the duffel bag. You see him posted up with those 3 posters. It's not a game, man. Posted up, flexing on the haters with the 3 posters, right? Looking for those shows where they're going to have a tent sale of classic posters, right? Exiting stage left. Snitching on the exit, right? Allegedly, I'm snitching. Conservist 34 snitching on John. Pay attention. All right, guys. That'll do it for tonight. Won't he do it? Thank you, Jesus. Won't he do it? We're gonna end on. Oh, you know what we'll do? We will end on American Baby intro. We'll end on that. Just so, yeah, we'll end on American Baby intro. Yeah, nice convo, man. Thank you, Matthias. I love your optimism again as a mid 90s fan, to present. To still be like, hey, I saw the band at its best, and have that mindset, because not everyone has that. And I think more OG fans need to have that. Listen, you're mad over a 2022 no violin having show, not getting picked for that show. Bro, you saw the band at its best. I love that mindset. But that's all for tonight. Thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Saturdays, 10 p.m. Replay anytime for free. It's free 99. I don't make money off this. All right. I don't get any sort of money from this right now. from this. I do this because I love this. I do this because I want to have conversations with you guys. We're going to end on American Baby intro, 9 to 11, Gorge Night 1. Peace.